Sometimes it's important to take a step back and reassess where you think you may want to head, because career paths can be changed. And in the case of one WBC champion at junior welterweight, Devin the Dream is reassessing his direction of where he'd like to head, being in this division in particular. And there's something to be said about that reassessment, because Devin is looking at the full picture. He's looking at what legacy could mean for him, and only him. He's not thinking about his contemporaries. He's thinking about where he would like to end up. And that's exactly what he should do. He should think about where he wants to end up and let others try to figure out where he's going and how long it might take to get there. So, let's talk about Devin Haney and his career trajectory, where he wants to end up. The more I look at what's going on with career choices and moves that Devin Haney makes for his specific personal career, the more I have respect for the man. The former Undisputed lightweight champion, who is now currently the WBC junior welterweight champion, soon to take on Ryan Garcia in defense of his title, he's made some observations about where his position is and pretty much where he wants to go. And so, according to a news article in Boxing News 24, link will be in the description box. WBC light welterweight champion Devin Haney says he wants to stay at 140 pounds to become undisputed champion after his fight against Ryan Garcia on April 20th. Let that sink in for a moment, please, because it's important that you pay attention. Haney, 31-0 with 15 KOs. Could have problems making that possible, given the financial obstacles he would face trying to negotiate with the always difficult to deal with WBO 140-pound champion Teofimo Lopez and WBA champ Rolando Rolly Romero. The odds of Haney hammering out a deal with Teofimo are slim, and the same is true with Rolly if he's still the WBA champion after March 30th. Haney's undisputed vision is as such. At first, I didn't plan to, but now, yes, I want to be undisputed, said Haney on Twitter, talking about wanting to stay at 140 to try to become the undisputed champion in a second weight class. They will find every reason not to. But Ryan, first, once I beat him. If Teo wants to unify, I would gladly entertain that fight if the numbers make sense, said Haney about his desire to face WBO light welterweight champion Teofimo Lopez next if he's successfully in defeating Ryan Garcia in his title defense on April 20th. Again, it's a questionable circumstance whether Haney can line up the fights he needs to become undisputed at 140. At 135, he was in the ideal situation of picking up 3 belts against the vulnerable unified champion George Kambosos Jr., but that situation doesn't present itself at 140. Just to stop there for one moment. The thing about it is, this is where we're going to find out who really wants to fight and who doesn't. Because public sentiment is growing when fighters are using various means to avoid the tougher fights for their career. This doesn't mean that they don't want to have success. This doesn't mean that they don't want to be champion. But they don't want to risk. They don't want to risk their positions. Some of them don't want to risk the undefeated or lost blemishes on their records. And so they will resort to being difficult in negotiations, pricing themselves out of fights that could be lucrative, even become the biggest payday of their career. Yet and still they'll try to find a way to add too many zeros to the situation so that the end result will be zero opportunity for it to take place. Fans are starting to slowly come around and see what this is when it comes down to fighters who do not necessarily want to lose. And some of them run out of options when there are no other weight classes to run ahead to, when there are too many formidable challenges for them to drop down. And so the inactivity that you see amongst a number of the current titleists and contenders happens to fall right under that category. It's hard to make a move when you know that your next move could end up costing you a victory or a title. Now, the article goes on. The size problem no one wants to talk about. It says that what could be overlooked is Haney's massive size for the 140-pound division. He's a junior middleweight in size and should at the very least be moving up to 147. Continuing to make 140 could be a problem for Haney, and he doesn't want to move up in weight where he belongs. That's a personal opinion by the author of this particular article, and if you can make the weight, you can compete at the weight class. Kevin Woods, who wrote the article for this Boxing News 24 piece. Devin's path to Undisputed at 140 are as such. Teofimo Lopez, WBO champion, and very difficult to negotiate with. Is it because Teofimo is unreasonable and disenchanted? Or just overall unbearable? Shareable Matias, IBF champion, who appears to be willing and ready to take on all comers until it comes down to negotiations. Rolando Rolly Romero, WBA belt holder and considered paper champion. An Al Heyman backed fighter. Well, Al always wants to have a hand in the cookie jar. And as long as he can finger a cookie, he's going to make sure that no one else gets the nookie. Yeah. Because promoters, advisors, and managers play the leverage game. The fighters are mere pawns on the chessboard. It goes on to say that if Haney had to move up to 147 or 154, where he belongs, again, a personal opinion, he would need to mix it up with dangerous punchers like Jaron Boots Ennis, Terrence Crawford, and Tim Tszyu. Haney's career could rapidly disintegrate, with him just being one of the many needy contenders trying to piece together a career. But staying at 140 allows Haney to use his size advantage to beat his smaller opposition. The gentleman that wrote this article, I wonder what close look has he taken to Shareable Matias. He is not a small man at 140. Neither is Teofimo at 140. But all of a sudden now, because of his frame and size, Devin, who's yet to enter a prime, should be at 147 or 154. Amazing. Where should Canelo Alvarez be? Just asking. Inquiring minds would like to know. You see, fighters like Emmanuel Navarrete, is he not enjoying size, reach, and weight advantages after weigh-ins and rehydrations? You see, the game that people say that they think they want to play doesn't play well when all chips are revealed. Devin Haney stayed at 135 pounds for 9 years and recently moved to 140, where he had one of his best career performances against Regis Prograis, taking Prograis' title from him. So the books are still far from being complete on what Devin may be able to accomplish. There is a strong possibility that one day he could end up at 154. But for a young man that has yet to touch 28 years old, the beginning of prime for fighters, a lot can still be achieved. And nobody's asking Tank Davis to move along. And Devin has not only come along, knocked at his door, asked for a dance, but has even moved on and beyond, because there's just no interest by the Davis camp. So Teofimo, who made the initial move away, followed by Ryan Garcia, whom he's getting ready to face, Devin doesn't have to chase anyone because the sky is the limit for what is being laid out before him. And by taking a closer look at the 140-pound division, to stay there for another year or longer will give him the opportunity to gain not only experience, but to gain the strength and value of accomplishment. It's the other guys who are avoiding. And remember, he just arrived at the 140 scene, but none of the others have even considered uttering the word undisputed, since you have such a strong fighter and candidate of resistance in Sabril Matias. So what do you say to that, people? You see, because Devin knows that the end game that could be Matias would be well worth the while and the bank. So he's considering it. And that's a good thing, because the warriors step onto the battlefield to do the battle, and the worriers seek to fret and hide and run and cover themselves. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about the possibilities of Devin Haney becoming undisputed at 140 pounds. Do you think he can manage that? Let's discuss. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.